You got to remember Ndamukong Suh and Chase Young, because Ndamukong Suh once grabbed a hold of Baylor quarterback Nick Florence and sacked him so hard, he got a flag. And when strength coach James Dobson asked Nebraska head coach Bo Pelini what the flag was for, he told him it was for the severity of the sack. Not that it was dirty or illegal, but it was just that hard. Now, at 6'4", 300 pounds, Ndamukong Suh put together the kind of season that ended with his Heisman sitting in Mark Ingram's house. Had 85 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 24 quarterback hurries, 10 pass breakups, 3 blocked kicks, and an interception. He notched 4.5 sacks, 12 tackles, including 7 behind enemy lines against Texas alone. Suh won every major national award except the Heisman, and including AP Player of the Year. But he wasn't considered elite after he arrived in Lincoln. Coming out of Portland, played damn near pedestrianly under then head coach Bill Callahan, but Pelini's two-gap head up on the guard's nose scheme suited his skill set. In Pelini's first year, 2008, Suh became the first defensive lineman to lead the team in tackles with 76 since 1973. That number included 7.5 sacks and 19 tackles for losses. Here's the story. Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney got a piece of Suh in that year, and he didn't understand. He put it to ESPN like this after watching Tiger offensive lineman Thomas Austin get pummeled. He said, "I'm mad because we just gave up a tackle for a loss or a sack," and he looks at me and says, "Coach, we can't block that guy." And Swinney was like, "What do you mean we can't block him?" And he was like, I'm just telling you, we ain't blocking that guy." And that was a crazy moment for Swinney. And the next year, the whole world found out just how dominant Suh was. He became Ndamukong Suh, did all those things. And Swinney's like, Thomas was right. On a rainy night where power knocked the lights out in the visiting Missouri locker room, Nebraska came out against the Tigers and fumbled the ball 5 times, gave up a safety, and trailed Blaine Gabbert and Missouri 12-0 entering the fourth quarter. Bo Pelini went all Jimmy McGinty and asked Suh to make like Danny Bateman and get him the ball back. "Give me the ball!" Suh told his teammates on the next series, "I'm going out there and I'm getting a pick from the nose tackle position." All right, whatever. You should know at the time, Gabbert had tossed 11 touchdowns and not a single interception through a quarter of the season. Nebraska's offense put a score together, and do you know Suh kept his word? He rushed the passer, timed his jump, and snatched that, and was brought down at the Missouri 21-yard line. The offense scored 2 plays later. The Huskers scored 27 in that quarter and got the W. Paul Rhodes coaches at UCLA right now, but back in Suh's day, he was the head coach at Iowa State. He saw Suh at the UCLA facilities one day, back when he played for the LA Rams. Rhodes thought about bringing up a game ISU won against Nebraska while Suh was there. He said, quote, "I wanted to say something about the game and how well he played and all of that, but I never even brought it up." Why? Rhodes said, "I thought he might be mad at me." Tom Herman still has the play caller shakes after what Suh did to his team while he was the offense coordinator at Iowa State. Suh's stats in that game are pedestrian for him. A sack, 3 quarterback hurries, 2 blocked field goals. But here's where you measure Suh's impact in that game. The Cyclones averaged just 3.6 yards per play, never entered the red zone, and won the game by a baseball score of 9-7. Then there's this story Herman told years later about watching Suh work as, he's watching his offensive line just be destroyed. "I coached Ed Oliver. He was pretty damn good and pretty damn dominant, but I don't know if I've ever seen a defensive tackle dominate games the way Suh did. He took a guard, I'll never forget, and just threw him. I believe the kid stumbled. We counted watching film the next day. It was like 7 yards back before he hit the ground." Warren Buffett is one of the most powerful and influential and successful people in the entire world. Business magnates, they got bread. Suh wanted to meet the most famous alumnus in Nebraska history. He told Tom Osborne, who doesn't usually follow through with these kinds of requests for meet and greets with the man who's worth $88 billion, that he'd see about it. But Osborne knew Buffett was a football fan. I mean, he went to Nebraska. Goes without saying. How can you not be a football fan and go to Nebraska? Anyway, Osborne arranged for Suh to meet Buffett for pancakes, and Suh went full shoot-your-shot mode. Buffett liked him. And they're friends now. When Suh's in Lincoln, Buffett takes him out for pancakes and I quote here, to see if I can still arm wrestle him. Yo, Buffett. The thing about that 2009 Big 12 championship that gets lost is how Suh's preparation put him in position to be dominant. He later told ESPN, we had about 2 weeks to study them. I knew their offense like the back of my hand. Once they didn't change a thing, that's probably one of the best feelings as an athlete to say, all right, I know what's coming. I can anticipate it, and I can go make plays. Boy, did he ever. The flip side for the Horns and Mac Brown was a scouting report that claimed Suh was going to make a play or two, and then he was going to loaf on the next 2 or 3. All right. And why should Texas be afraid of a single interior lineman? The offense was averaging 43 a game, and quarterback Colt McCoy was completing 72% of his passes. Every single Texas offensive lineman in that starting 5 was named All Big 12 on one team or another. Now, check the box score. Texas will say scoreboard. Okay, fair. The rest of us will say 12 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks against the last Longhorn team to play for a national title. About that game, McCoy wrote in the Players Tribune, we didn't have any answers for the Cornhuskers defense. Ndamukong Suh spent most of the day tossing me every which way around the field. Former UT offensive line coach Mac McWhorter dropped an all-timer quote about that game to the worldwide leader, saying, he was the most dominant one I've ever had the misfortune to coach against. Early in my career, we faced Lawrence Taylor and Julius Peppers. We never had problems like that. That night was a nightmare. Now, the Heisman is a pageant contest that is supposedly given to the best college football player in the country. But the trophy is of a man holding a football with his arm out. Is it any wonder that they give it to a quarterback or a running back more often than they have given it to any other position? No. But football people know that Mark Ingram has Suh's Heisman at his crib. Chase Young rolls into the College Football Awards show tonight with the same disruptive presence Suh had. He's recorded more tackles for loss with 21 than his teammate and running back J.K. Dobbins has scored touchdowns with 20. And Dobbins is an 1,800-yard rusher. Any other year, probably wins the Heisman. Young holds the Ohio State record for sacks in a season with 16.5, with at least one more game left to play. He could take over the game against Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl and lead the Buckeyes to a national title win. Be the greatest team, one of the greatest teams ever. He could finish the season with more sacks this season than any other player in the history of the sport in just 13 games played. That record is 27, and it's held by Terrell Suggs. Is 11 sacks in 2 games too presumptive to suggest? Maybe. But I sincerely doubt Chase, like me, got here by allowing you to set the standard. That's it for me. Doses.